Thank you for tuning in to The Critical Thought. We appreciate having you in our audience. Not only that, but we invite you to subscribe to our channel and be sure to hit that bell so that you can receive notifications when we upload new content. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you for being in our audience.
You're listening to The Critical Thought, where we challenge our listeners to use critical thinking when examining the teachings of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Hey, this is Lady C. Welcome to The Critical Thought. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a very serious topic, and that is PIMO. P-I-M-O. This term has been floating around the internet for several years now. It is a term that individuals that are Jehovah's Witnesses are calling themselves when they find out that this is not the truth and they no longer want to participate in the religion and worshiping the way they were before. And so it means physically in, mentally out. It is very serious. A lot of people don't understand just how serious it is because the Jehovah's Witnesses, they come across as a people that says that you're free to come and go as you want to, and nothing's going to happen to you. If you leave the religion, it's up to you if you want to do that, but they do not tell you that if you leave the religion, there's going to be repercussions. So let's just say, for instance, there is an individual who has a job, and they're working for a brother or sister in their local congregation. Maybe they've had this job for 10, 15 years or whatever, or however long it is. When you have a job, you can't just up and quit your job if you don't have another job. So if they decide to leave the religion, there goes their job. There's other people who may be renting a room. They may be renting an apartment or whatever it is. They may be depending on a Jehovah's Witness for a place to stay. And if they decide that they no longer want to be a witness, well, they could find themselves homeless overnight. And then another issue is a person that's married to a Jehovah's Witness. And you have one spouse that's in the religion practicing, and they don't see anything wrong with the organization, and they choose to stay. And then you have the other spouse that's fully woke to the teachings, and they're no longer want to have anything else to do with the religion. But they can't just up and say, hey, look, and tell their spouse that they no longer want to be a witness, because now there's turmoil in the marriage. And depending on the dynamics of how things are structured in their life, they may have property that they're sharing together. They're depending on their livelihood. Their lives are intertwined. They may have children. There's a lot of things that's going on in their relationship. And you just can't wake up one day and be gone and have no place to stay. So there's a lot of people dealing with stuff. And then another group is a minor child. You know, we get emails from teenagers, and they discover, I'm 14 years old. And I no longer want to be a witness. I've been on the internet. I've been on YouTube. And I realized that this is not the truth. What do I do? And so, we don't tell people to buck up against their parents and not follow the rules of their family. So, of course, they're going to have to do other things too. And they've got to stick it out for however long so that they can maintain some kind of normalcy in their life, And I don't want to say some kind of normalcy, but because being a Jehovah's Witness definitely is not a normal situation, especially when you wake up to the real truth about the religion. You realize, hey, look, there's nothing normal about being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And so, we get a lot of blowback sometimes with our videos. We'll put a video on the internet, and then you'll even get people who are, like ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And they'll be saying to us, oh, you're just putting these videos out here bashing the Watchtower. You should move on with your life. We'll get those kind of people coming out talking to us and saying stuff like that. but they don't get the emails that we get. They're not getting the correspondence. They're not talking to people that's about to jump off a bridge because they can't take it no more. We get those emails. We see the results of what our videos are doing for people. They're helping people. They're helping people to keep their sanity, to realize that they're not alone, that they do, that they are going to be okay. There's a growing number of people that are in the community that's waking up and leaving. And so I was telling this one lady that I was talking to the other day, I said, pretty soon there's going to be more people that have actually woken up from the religion and walked away than there would be people that's still at the Kingdom Hall. And then we were laughing about it, and we were saying not only that, but how many people are actually sitting at the Kingdom Hall thinking the same thing that you're thinking. I don't want to be here, So when I tell you there's a lot of work to be done out here when it comes to helping people, and we get emails all the time, and sometimes we just do not get a chance to read everything. And I've gone back through our emails, and I've missed emails, and I didn't realize that some of the emails had come through because so many come in to our inbox that there's just a lot of correspondence coming through. So in this video, we're going to be talking to another individual that we had a interview with a couple weeks ago. And we kind of left out this one part of his interview because we didn't want it to get encapsulated with the rest of his story, because we felt like this is a story that should kind of stand on its own. And that would be the one where he was talking about being a PIMO. And now I want you to go ahead and tune in to the discussion that we had with Sean Miller about his experience as a PIMO, and JT will also be part of this discussion. When you were a PIMO, what kind of conversations did you have with your family? Give the balance. Tell what that was like.
Like, you basically have to live what the witnesses call a double life. Like, you have to fake it. And it's that I actually have never been so stressed out in all my life as when I was a PIMO, because going out in the field ministry or going over to people's houses, like, you don't want to slip, right? Because then people can kind of like, witnesses police each other. That's something Bible studies don't know either, is that witnesses are always scanning, and you're picking up all the time of like something that hits your ear funny. So as a PIMO, I just don't know how it's a sustainable thing to live like that for such a long time, because it is very uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. I mean, oh my God, I can remember family dinners. We would all get together, my sister-in-law, my brother, my parents, we'd all come together, and somebody would say something just ass backwards wacky, and you'd just have to sit there and be like, yep. And I just felt like such a chump after a while, having to agree with stuff that I didn't agree with. It's like, this is silly. This is nonsense. And I can't do it. I mean, some people can, but I think you'll eventually probably crack. And I think it's long-term very bad for your mental health to live as a PIMO for a long time. But, that's just my opinion. I don't want anybody to blow up their life based on my opinion.
Oh no. And I just wanted people to just hear that. Not that I'm trying to pick on PIMOs either. And because I realize that some people financially can't come out. If you're a PIMO,
yeah, that's true. That's
and
true.
You can't come out because you're depending on somebody financially, and you got a job, you got all these things you're dealing with. But some people might just be afraid. Mm-hmm. They may just be afraid to step out there. And we did have several people emailed us and told us they were just waiting for their Jehovah's Witness family member to die, and then they were going to just go ahead and leave. But and I was like, oh my God, they could be living for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Or outlive you,
Right.
So they weren't dependent on the person financially. It was other stuff going on.
Yeah, you as a PIMO, and this is something you just won't understand until you actually leave, the authenticity in your own life that you will feel. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like just being able to discover who I am spiritually, emotionally, creatively, everything, even like, like my relationship with my wife, like everything just bloomed. It just blossomed. And if you live under that restraint, you just will never have the experience of living an authentic life.
I want to say this in regards to people who find themselves in what's called the PIMO status. I think it's very important that you understand that you heard the phrase "you're living a double life." I think you have to put in some context. When people say people are living a double life, that generally means that they're doing something wrong. They should be doing what's right, but they're doing something wrong.
Right.
You need to understand in this particular instance, you're not doing anything wrong. You ain't done nothing wrong. You've just realized you've been duped. And now you're just waiting to make your move. Because some people feel this is wrong. No, you just found out the real deal. That's all. That's all you did. You found the real deal. Right. But your circumstances don't allow you to move on that at this time. So never feel that we're not talking about people who are lying and then stealing and then carjacking, and then they come to the Kingdom Hall like they're brothers. No, we're not talking about that. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you took the time to read, to study, to analyze, and you realize you got duped. Yeah. So you're not doing anything wrong. You're not living the double life in the context that word is often used. That's and exactly so right. Such individuals, because we've talked to so many people, you have to make the move when it is best for you. Not what someone else says, because nobody's circumstances are the same and nobody is walking in your shoes except you. And so therefore you have to make the move when you are ready. Don't let anyone force you. Don't stay longer than you need to, but leave when it's time to. And you will find that as you've mentioned, you will then be able to live your authentic life and who you are and the things you want to do. But you're not doing anything wrong, because I know I've talked to so many people over the years, man. JT, I feel so bad because I know the truth about the truth. How you feel about the truth? And you know the truth. Listen to yourself. And so,
but I think it's fear, though. I think people are not living because it's fear. Because, and if you take people who are older and they don't really, and they always say that when you get older, you don't make friends as well as you do when you're younger.
That is true.
Because like if you're retired, you're not in the workforce anymore and stuff like that. But that's why I recommend that people, there's so many ex-witnesses out here now that you have an instant friends that you can get just in the ex-witness community, So there's a lot more support than we had when we left. We had nobody.
So now at least, which is really nice, is that now if you are a PIMO, you do not have to be feeling guilty for stuff that you would have felt guilty before. Before, I ain't studied my lesson. I didn't get enough hours. That's kind of stuff for you now. At this point in your life, you're like, I ain't worrying about the time. I ain't worrying about splitting the magazine. Before, think of all the things that you felt guilty about. And now you realize, as we started this whole program out, it's bogus. So that is a burden that you do not have to carry anymore. You had to read all the magazines and keep up all the awakes and the Watchtowers and that stuff is, you realize now this stuff is bogus because in 6 months they're going to change it anyway. So
that's true.
They won't even be teaching in 6 months.
That's terrible.
I think for me, and I know this was the big motivating factor for my wife. She, and this is before I even knew what the term PIMO was, but she was a PIMO. She stopped going out in service. And I was like, what's the deal? And I even had an elder ask me, he's like, hey, now, brother, why isn't your wife turning in her time? And so I had to ask her, right? And she was like, I just can't go to somebody's door and tell them that they need to get baptized and be a Jehovah's Witness. I can't do it because at that point she had discovered, like that this is, no, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I got to that point too, where it was like, well, I can't be PIMO because in order to survive, and this is procedural, okay? In order to survive as a witness, you have to be active. If you want to enjoy any of the benefits, really enjoy them and get brought into the culture, you have to be active, which means you have to try to convince people to be a witness. So I don't want that on my conscience to go to somebody's door and be like, well, yeah, here, read this book and come to the meetings, but you actually don't have to get baptized. Like I couldn't do that.
Hey man,
I'd be lying to somebody.
I'm gonna say we hear stories of people who there's some people, they have fun with this thing, especially with this time stuff, because they know now, like right now, because of the COVID, they just told everybody, you don't have to even worry about time. I know people, man, they're like, yeah, I got a couple hours to think about. I think I got a couple hours. And they just let it roll just like that. They don't even worry about that. They just let it roll. Because you now realize, think about it, you had to be a regular pioneer and all of a sudden, you ain't got to turn no pioneer hours in. Man, so many people signed up to be regular pioneers just to go to the pioneer school, and they would turn in 12 hours a month. I mean, come on, man. This is bogus, man.
Yeah.
I'm a 12-hour pioneer going to pioneer school. Come on now.
It got to the point where I was like counting time for when I thought about going out in service.
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, I was thinking about it today. That's good enough. That's good enough.
Yeah, I had a running joke with one of my friends. I said, why can't we just turn in like, it's the thought that counts points. Like, it's the thought that counts hours. Like, can I just keep track of that? It's from my heart, brother. Like, it's got to mean something, right?
No, that is funny.
Yeah, I mean, people.
I had somebody tell me they were turning in pioneer hours.
Pioneer hours, boy.
They wouldn't even go on service.
There are people who they decide, look, I'm on my way out anyway. I'm gonna have the last laugh going out the door. So it
was something. What I'd like to do is just share some of the stories that we've been receiving from individuals that are PIMO.
One PIMO said, congregations have bad apples, but these elders are micromanagers and out for blood. There is no one I can talk to for fear. And as you know, the organization has a snitching mentality. I am so glad I found your podcast. Ex-Jehovah's Witness Never Going Back said the following. Ex-JW Critical Thinker, I woke up in January 2021, and I attempted to be a PIMO, but I couldn't do it. I disassociated in writing in May of 2021 after 27 years, the majority of which I pioneered. I was not a born-in. I was recruited into the cult through a door-to-door contact. This disgusting, evil cult has ruined my life in every imaginable way. Now, I'm picking up the pieces and trying to move on best I can.
There are so many people waking up. I mean, people are emailing us, writing comments on our YouTube videos. In fact, there's another story that I'd like to relate. I can't find the email right now. But it was an individual that was having a lot of issues, and they had been disfellowshipped and reinstated several times. They were so confused about life, they didn't know what to do. They were trying to make a final-ditch effort to get back to the hall, and it was during the time when they were having Zoom meetings online. So this individual was at a Zoom meeting and got bored and somehow ended up going on the internet and surfing the internet, and somehow one of our videos hit his radar. And he said when he clicked on the video, he was a little afraid at first because you know how Jehovah's Witnesses are telling people, hey, stay away from apostates and things like that. But when he got the courage to click on that video and start watching, his world began to change. So trust and believe. When I tell you, all of us YouTubers out here as a conglomerate, we're helping people. we're keeping people off these bridges and committing suicide, we are out here working our magic, helping people to stay alive. All right, going back to my screen to show you another message that we got. This one was a comment that was made on the video that we did about the memorial. And there was an individual that said, I'm PIMO, was baptized in 1970, seen a lot. My dad was an elder. I met wonderful people way back then, but now I know the truth about the truth. It's so hard when you believe something all your life. Now, you know this person, because they were baptized in 1970, you know they're up in age. They're not like 25 years old. They can't really start their life over again because they pretty much lived their whole life, all to wake up and find out that their life was a sham. It's really, really sad. Another email, we did a video about 9/11 20 years later, and this is what this person said.
Hello, JT and Lady C. I'm PIMO, and didn't feel comfortable commenting on the live video you just had. It was really enjoyable, by the way. I have been enjoying your videos for a while now. Thank you so much. You both are helping many people.
Another email that we received.
Hello. I've been PIMO for about 3 years now. I'm going to have a judicial committee probably soon. My whole world revolves around Jehovah's Witnesses. My family are Jehovah's Witnesses, and all my friends whom I love dearly. I'm really afraid of what might happen, and I really need your help. Any advice you can give me to improve my chances of not getting this fellowship? Can you please call me or set up a Zoom meeting so I can explain my situation?
Another email. Thank you. I saw the interview you both had with John Dellon. Great interview. I've been awake for 3 years now, an inactive PIMO, and you two were part of helping me realize that I wasn't crazy when one day at my job I questioned myself. Is this the true religion? What if it isn't? And it was a smack to my face, and began looking for info on those doubts that haunted me for years. So people are getting a confirmation. They're able to see, hey, look, I wasn't going crazy. There was some things about this religion that was haunting me from years ago, and I just thought it was me. I thought I was the crazy one. No, people are coming on the internet, they're waking up, and they're walking out of this religion. The last one I'm going to share with you here is an elder that talked about when they resigned, they said this is how they woke up. They were having a meeting with the circuit overseer, and they said that the circuit overseer said in an elders meeting about brothers and sisters recording their judicial meetings and putting them on YouTube. And he said, this aroused my curiosity. So I typed in Jehovah's Witnesses into YouTube, and this brought me to your channel, Berean Pickett's, and others. This is where I learned the truth and woke up. So even when you're at the Kingdom Hall and the brothers are talking about people going online and getting in touch with apostates and seeing all this stuff, putting stuff on their judicial cases online, I guess he was like, wait a minute, what is going on? And at that point, he did some investigative work, went online, and he saw what he needed to see, and he woke up. And for years, the Watchtower has been demonizing the internet, and they've been trying to keep people away from information and knowledge because they realize that once you start looking at this information, the house of cards is going to fall because they do not have a stable foundation for this religion. And it is very important for them to make you think that you should not be online because you're going to lose favor with Jehovah. And people don't realize it, that God has nothing to do with the Watchtower. This has been Lady C. I want to thank you so much for being in our audience. Be sure to share this information because sharing is caring. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
This program was sponsored by Critical Thinkers.